What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined by my co-host, Eric Wilson.
We're
here in person. We got together to watch the Stadium Series game, and what a game it ended up being. For half of that game, it was so over, but then
it wasn't over.
We were so back. I mean, what an ending to that game. Comeback victory for the New York Rangers. Artemi Panarin with the overtime goal, 10 seconds into overtime. Controversial decision in the eyes of Islanders fans, not in the eyes of us. I think it was very clearly and obviously a goal.
The rules are very clear on that situation, where the Islanders player knocked his own net off, and the puck was already in the air being shot by Panarin. So it's a good goal. I'm happy they made the right call, but Islanders fans will never accept that, probably.
Probably not, but I think main takeaways from that game, I'd say, is resiliency. This Rangers team has been really inconsistent, and I think that inconsistency showed up here once again as they were down by 3 goals. But their ability to fight back and make it work and find the win, I think, has been one of their most impressive traits this season. I think a lot of credit for that has to go to Peter Laviolette.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell right away, the Rangers fell down by a goal early. They were able to tie it, and then the Islanders kind of just piled them on. They were down 4-1. This was the first ever 3-goal comeback in Stadium Series history, I think, in all of outdoor games, including like the Winter Classic and everything. But it was interesting moving into the third. They were down by 2 with like 3 minutes left. We had Mika Zibanejad clutch up. Vincent Trocheck had 2 goals, and then obviously Panarin with the overtime winner. But the resiliency shown by the team, definitely a notable standout there. I mean, I would say Peter Laviolette had a lot to do with it, but you got to give props to the players that made it happen. The power play scored 3 times yesterday, I believe, during the game. And as we know, the power play has been struggling a lot recently, but Mika Zibanejad pulled through there to tie the game. He's looked like he hasn't been confident, and that one-timer shot that he has used it yesterday, pulls it out and ties the game. Kreider had a goal yesterday. Again, that second line definitely cooked. Lafreniere had 2 assists. Trocheck and Panarin both had 3 points. Just pretty much the offense really just clutched up here.
The offense clutched up for sure. Panarin, of course, keeps cooking. Trocheck had a great game, my boy. My Italian brother right there. Love the way that Trocheck's been playing. What about Matt Rempe? How do you feel about that big fight that he got into? He played 4.5 minutes or something like that. I mean, his first NHL action coming in the Stadium Series. Basically just gets on the ice, kicks some ass, and that's about it.
I mean, it's a cool story. He's the first player in NHL history to have his rookie debut be in an outdoor game. I didn't even realize it at the time. But then you see him doing like the rookie skate, rookie lap around the rink outdoors. Obviously, he didn't play that much, just a little fourth line role right now. Didn't score any points, but the fight was awesome. Like, could you imagine just coming out there, your first ever career game in the NHL, just dropping the gloves with Matt Martin, who is known around the league to be one of like the best fighters, best enforcers out there. And Matt Rempe just comes in, drops the gloves, handles business. And then I think that was a big part of the game.
It was a huge part of the game. How do you feel about the way the defense played, though? I mean, obviously not the best. Put them in a pretty tricky situation early. And I think it was the offense that carried this team to the win. But Lindgren got hurt, so I think that's something that we have to keep an eye on. Laceration on the face. I don't know how he's going to be available for the upcoming games with his upper body injury there. But I think overall the defense was pretty lackluster in this one.
I don't think it was bad. I mean, it was pretty bad. It's hard to defend the defense. I mean, you had your standout players, like Adam Fox played well, obviously, like he always does. Gustafsson chipped in with a goal. He scored the first goal for the Rangers. So, like, there were some players that did good, but there's no reason why the Rangers should have found themselves down by 3 goals in that game. I think the defense and Igor Shesterkin are partially to blame for that. Yeah. I mean, there were some goals that the Islanders scored where Igor had no chance of stopping that. A couple deflections, those are always going to find their way to the back of the net. But there were also a few that when we were watching it yesterday, again, we looked at each other and we were kind of just like, that one might have been a little savable. But obviously, you can't put all the blame on Igor. The defense does need to help him out. And I think later on in the game, they did figure out what was going on and get their act together. But early on, there was a point where I was like, yep, the Rangers about to get blown out and lose their first outdoor game in history. Luckily, something changed. That's where I guess Laviolette can come in, just got his players back in line. and the defense performed well. I would definitely just say Adam Fox, though, the most notable standout defender. I don't think anyone had like a terrible game, but it was pretty mediocre from the defensive unit right there.
I agree, and I would even say that at the end of the game, I don't think the defense did much to help them get back in, and it was really on those power plays when they took the goalie out of the net. I thought that was a really bold decision. Laviolette's got balls of steel. I thought that was awesome. It paid off. They got those power play goals, and they got that game tied up. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I see. I'm very happy that it worked, and people will say that the refs like helped the Rangers out with the power plays, but I don't know. The Islanders did take a lot of penalties, and I think most of them were pretty clear calls that the Rangers needed to be on a power play. But the script as they call it, they'll say that the refs helped the Rangers tie that game because they were the favorites and the home team and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I do got to give props to Peter Laviolette. I think pulling the goalie with like when you're down by 2 or 3 goals with like 6 minutes still left in the game, that's something that you'll see every once in a while, and the coach will get like made fun of for it because the other team will just immediately put it in the back of the net because they have that much time to work with an open net. So as soon as I saw that happen, I was like, oh dear Lord, it's over. But luckily, I think I know Mika tied it. I don't remember who scored the one to get them within one. It might have been Kreider.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was Kreider
deflection from Panarin, I believe.
Yeah. So it was a crazy move by Laviolette. Obviously, it paid off, and that's the kind of thing you need from a head coach. Let's say if the Rangers played in this game last season when Gerard Gallant was head coach, they found themselves down by 3 goals. That's it. Like the players would stop trying. The comeback wouldn't even be in the realm of possibility in their minds. But no, Peter Laviolette comes out here, does some crazy move by pulling the goalie and gets his team back into it. And because of it, the Rangers have just won what is arguably like the best Stadium Series game in NHL history. It's definitely in a top 3 outdoor games of all time. I personally think that last night's game was the best Stadium Series of all time. It was very, very impressive, very historical too. Like I said, the Rangers have won 5 outdoor games now, the most in NHL history. It was the most, like the highest attendance in Rangers history at like 79,000 people or something like that. The Rangers are now on a 7-game win streak, and it was just a very historic game.
Yep. 7-game win streak is huge. What's next for this team, though? Where do we see it going? I think that they need to start winning some of these games a little bit more handedly. I think that they played down their competition with the Islanders, found themselves from behind, and then obviously made the nice comeback. I know that they dropped 7 recently. Like they've had some pretty comfortable wins, but I think that overall, I am scared that it's going to be one of these runs that the team goes on, like they had at the beginning of the season, where they went on a long winning streak, and then this inconsistency is going to catch up with them, and they're going to go into a little bit of a dip again. Yeah. And I'm worried about that happening too close to playoff time.
So the way I look at it is, obviously, I'm very happy to see the Rangers be on a 7-game win streak, but I'm still not that impressed. You look back at these 7 games, like sure, there have been some dominant games. The 2 out of those 7, the Rangers have scored 7 goals. I think it was against Montreal and then Calgary, maybe. No, it was the Senators that they did it too. And there's those highlights, but then there's also some pretty bad games. We are sitting here talking about how awesome the Stadium Series was last night because it was, but realistically, there's no reason why the Rangers should have had to go to overtime against the Islanders right there. There have been a couple other games that have been way too close against teams that aren't playoff teams like the Rangers are supposed to be. So yeah, it's a great sign to see the Rangers actually winning games and collecting points. But at the end of the day, there needs to be some sort of level of comfortability that I just don't have right now. I know tomorrow night the Rangers play against Dallas, who is a very good team. I think they're 5th overall in the league or somewhere around there. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. So I think tomorrow night is going to be a true test of are the Rangers actually back, or if they've just really been getting lucky. But I said it last episode and I'll say it again. Looking at the Rangers schedule, I think they can win out the rest of the month of February. The schedule isn't that hard. They have a few challenges, such as tomorrow night against Dallas. But at the end of the day, the Rangers are a very good team right now. They're 3rd overall in the NHL. and they have what it takes to beat any team, I believe. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but vibes are good, not perfect just yet. Not as high as they were to start the season.
Vibes are good. I mean, definitely feeling good about these Rangers, but with this game against Dallas coming up, who should be in that, in your opinion? Who do you think should be the starter?
See, that's a tough one because Igor and Quick have been kind of splitting it recently.
Mm-hmm.
Igor obviously played yesterday. He didn't play that well. I mean, I don't think he had a bad game, but I know his save percentage was in like the 800s.
But I also feel like it's just been so long since we've seen, like, not to put too much stock into the highlights, but like a classic Shesterkin moment. You know, I don't know, when have we had?
Well, I mean, he got his first shutout of the season a couple games ago.
That's true. That's true.
But that's just like, again, like one little highlight in like a whole stretch of just pretty mediocre play. I mean, I look back, he had that shutout the last moment before that where I was like, yes, I love Igor and he's the best goalie in the world. It was probably that game against Tampa that I was at in Tampa where the Rangers won like 5-1. And Igor played very, very well that game. But he's going to need to get more starts as we move closer to playoffs. You know, he needs to find that rhythm that he's had in the past. And I'm very happy that Quick has been earning a lot of starts because obviously he's winning games and he's playing really well too. But I think maybe for tomorrow against Dallas, if I'm Laviolette, I might start Quick just because Igor played yesterday.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but moving forward, the Rangers need to start letting Igor play a little bit more.
I think so too. I think they got to get him ready for a postseason. Not that I think he's not going to be ready for the postseason. Like, Igor is always going to bring his A game for the playoffs, but I do think it's important that he gets a little bit more playing time down the stretch. But I think Quick against Dallas is the move, and that's going to be a big game. And if they win that and make it 8 straight, I mean, now we're talking.
They're cooking. You know, they went on that pretty good win streak earlier in the season. That one was only 6. And we're now at 7. It's the longest active win streak in the NHL because the Oilers finally lost and then have been like mid ever since. But again, yeah, the Rangers, they can keep winning. They're back. They're not fully back, but they are back.
Yep.
And I'm excited to keep watching.
So am I. I think that's a pretty great way to round out the takeaways on this matchup. I mean, listen, the Rangers are playing some good hockey. They have definitely flashed signs of inconsistency and signs of weaknesses, though. So hopefully they get that sorted out and continue to play at a high level.
And Artemi Panarin is the best player in the NHL. I need to just double down on that fact.
We got to have a topic of discussion in one of these upcoming episodes about why he deserves the Hart Trophy. Artemi Panarin.
Artemi Panarin.
He deserves it. I mean, that performance yesterday and the heroics in the end really were the icing on the cake.
Islanders fans got to hold that. I'll never forget. It was like June 30th, 2019. Free agency was set to start the next day, and every reporter in the NHL said Artemi Panarin will be a New York Islander tomorrow. What a funny joke that was, right? He took less money to play for the best New York team.
That's right.
And here we are years later. Still haven't won a cup, but we'll get there one day.
Hopefully we get there, and Panarin is hoisting that trophy.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. But yeah, that pretty much wraps this one up. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, and comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. Make sure you go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels at Fireside Rangers. But without further ado, we'll catch you all in the next one. Have a good one, and
let's go Rangers.